Welcome, my friends. Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World. And on today's episode of the Prime, we're going to be breaking down Super Bowl 59 from the action on the field to the action during the halftime show to the commercials to the presentation. We're going to talk about everything Super Bowl 59 related here today on the show as the game. Maybe the result many people expected, but not the way in which it unfolded. So we're a Prime Sports World. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. We bring you guys almost daily content for you guys to stick your teeth into. I'm David On Point Huppin. Right there is my co-host, Mr. TJ Hopkins. And from the Daily Blitz Stop blog, who is thankful, gracious enough to join us before he takes a little bit of a hiatus himself, Mr. Christian Simpson, as you go into a little bit of a hibernation, as you do every offseason a little bit.
Absolutely. So come on, man, hurry up.
Much deserved, by the way, man. You've been pumping out some fire content, my friend. So enjoy that time off. But here to talk about Super Bowl 59. Quick overview. What you guys thought of the game before we get into the nitty gritty and stuff.
You got to give the Eagles credit. You know, I've been saying it pretty much all year. Saquon Barkley's impact reminded me a lot of, I know it's a different sport, but reminded me a lot of Kevin Durant when he joined the Warriors. Sometimes it just takes that one piece to come in and put you over the top. He made their offense better. Vic Fangio made their defense better. And, you know, I'm happy for Jalen Hurts. Like, he really silenced, his critics. He truly silenced his critics. Played his best football when it mattered most. He knew this was one. He won it. But to me, you know, what stood out to me was the Eagles defense playing a lot of zone. Didn't play man, played a lot of zone, kept those safeties high. And that front four, they were able to get home with just that four, not blitzing. Because when you blitz, that means you can't really rush the passer like that when you're throwing multiple guys.
TJ, quick thoughts before we get into some of the numbers.
Old-fashioned Joe Jackson.
Swinging in, Eagles dispatch of the Kansas City Chiefs 40-22. I know the final score was 40-22, but this game was not even that close. Like, it was 36-0 at one point in this game. Kansas City Chiefs scored 3 garbage time touchdowns down the stretch that just kind of make this less painful. But this was an absolute thrashing by the Philadelphia Eagles of the hands of the Kansas City Chiefs. They did not blitz even one time in this entire game, and they did not need to. They were able to generate 6 sacks for 31 yards. They forced 3 turnovers, 2 touchdowns, and a fumble. Total yards there, 275 for the Chiefs, 345 for the Philadelphia Eagles, 226 passing yards for the Chiefs, 210 for the Eagles, 135 rushing yards, 49 for the Chiefs, and then 3 turnovers to the 1. Penalties fairly even. First downs 12-21, and the time possession big edge for the Philadelphia Eagles, 36-58 to 23-02. Obviously, Jalen Hurts ends up winning the Super Bowl MVP. Much deserved, as he had a fantastic game here. 17 of 22, 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. He also had a rushing touchdown. And I think if you are the Kansas City Chiefs and they tell you, hey, Saquon Barkley is going to have 25 carries in this game, but he's only going to have 57 yards and get 2.3 yards per clip, you think you have a chance to win this game? Not on Sunday. Mahomes, 21 of 32, 257 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. He was also their leading rusher, as this team was really unable to rush the football effectively throughout the entire game. Xavier Worthy had 2 touchdowns, and DeAndre Hopkins had a touchdown, both of those in garbage time. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown caught the lone receiving touchdowns for the Eagles, as the Kansas City Chiefs also led up a pick 6. They also had just a terrible day at the office if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, and one of the worst times to have your worst game of the season by far.
Yeah. Yeah, it most definitely was. I think the Eagles, I think the Chiefs overcompensated for Saquon Barkley. And what I mean by that is, okay, look, we're going to sit on the line of scrimmage. We're going to load the box. We're going to dare Jalen Hurts to beat us. And he understood the assignment. He did what was asked of him, didn't do too little, didn't do too much, made those throws on third down. But most importantly, outside that interception he threw, he didn't force the ball, David. In TJ, he was in control, and you know, I'm just happy that he was able to finally had a Super Bowl championship, Super Bowl title to his resume now.
And shout out to Cooper Jejin. Got that pick 6 on his birthday. So pretty awesome. Also, the Philadelphia Eagles didn't have to blitz even one time in this game. They were able to generate the kind of pressure that they would put under the Philadelphia Eagles or the Kansas City Chiefs without blitzing even once. And now, so they have 4 guys. That means they were able to drop 7 back into coverage. And when you have the inability to block even 4 guys with 5, as soon as you start to have to bring in more guys into your blocking scheme, that means you have less options in the passing game. And it was apparent in this game that the Kansas City Chiefs were just outmanned and outbigged, really, because they just couldn't hang with Philadelphia. There's so much talent on this team from top to bottom. And it's one of the things that, Izzy talked about, and he can't make it on the show here today. He's got wrestling with his son, but this Eagles team, it's just stacked. Like it would have been. They just couldn't run the ball. They couldn't effectively pass, and like the lack of weapons on the outside really, really showed their face in this game against the Philadelphia Eagles, who were just dominant.
Yeah, it was. Hey, this is one of those. Hey, keep the same energy. Travis Kelce do all that shit talking. Michael Jordan said it best. It's real easy to talk when you got a lead or it's a tie game. But when you can talk shit when you losing, getting your ass kicked, that's the sign of a good man. I ain't see Travis Kelce getting in nobody's face, barking like he do. You know what I'm talking about, Christian?
Mm-hmm.
You ain't see that a lot. You ain't see the Chiefs talking like with their chest out. Yesterday.
I wanna say this too about the Chiefs. I know we've all said on this show, and I've said it off this show and on the site and on the other shows I contribute for, that the Chiefs have skated along. You know what I mean? I mean, they've, did just enough to get by. Eventually, when you have to do that every single game and every single week, it catches up to you. And I think we can all sit here and say it caught up to them last night.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like
I think their inefficiencies in the passing game, with them basically not having a true number 1 wide receiver, it really shined in this game, where you just had nobody was able to get open when it mattered, because it was a straight up shellacking from beginning.
But my thing is this, David. Andy Reid is known to be this offensive genius, and he is. I'm not knocking that. But what do I always say? What's the best way to neutralize a strong pass rush? You either A, you run it at them, or B, you get rid of the ball quickly. Why didn't they set up screen passes for Xavier Worthy?
I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's hard to even remotely set up any kind of offense whatsoever when your quarterback's getting killed on every play. Like it literally was turning into like a stuff.
No, David. He's supposed to figure that out, because he's supposed to figure that out. He's supposed to call out where the blitz is coming, but they didn't blitz.
Yeah, they didn't.
Like no,
they didn't need to.
No, Pat Mahomes, he held on to the ball too long. He's supposed to get. You see how idiotic that sounds? Yeah. Chris, you see how Christian know what I'm talking about. You see how idiotic that sounds? Sometimes you just ain't good enough, and they weren't good enough.
And everybody's talking about like Andy Reid should have made some adjustments. There was literally nothing he could have done. Like I don't think there was going to be a magic wand that Andy Reid could have waved on this Kansas City Chiefs team and have them pull this out. They ran into a buzzsaw that was the Philadelphia Eagles, who have basically destroyed everybody in the playoffs. I mean, I know that Rams game was semi-close, but they were up by 2 scores in that game for majority of it. They beat down Washington. They beat down the Packers. The Philadelphia Eagles were the best team in the NFL this season, and they showed it on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it was. Like I'm seeing on Twitter, like Vic Fangio had Matt Nagy. I'm like, oh, now Matt Nagy called the offense. Come on now, like what are we doing here? We know who called that offense. I know Andy Reid's the lovable uncle at the barbecue that make everybody laugh and whatnot. No, he got out coached yesterday. It happens. Ali does like Muhammad Ali did lose to Joe Frazier. It happened. It was a bad day at the office.
Mm-hmm.
And the crazy thing is, like, so we were watching. I went out to Columbus to watch the Super Bowl, and when they called that offensive pass interference call on that fourth down play, real early in the game, like you kind of had that feeling, like, oh God, here we go
Here we
again.
go.
But
Yep.
like this could have been this could have been an even further beatdown. Like the questions if that was offensive pass interference, I think you can debate it both ways, but it probably shouldn't have been called. And that's a conversion on fourth down. They don't punt the football in that scenario. They probably score again. We're probably looking at like 47-22 or 43 at the very least because they were already in field goal range. And shout out to Jake Elliott. After a rough season kicking the football, was clutch in this game. 3 kicks, bang him right through the middle.
It was 34-0 before you even got close to the red zone.
Yeah.
Like that. I'm seeing fans, Chiefs fans. I don't want to hear you guys complain about the refs anymore. No, y'all got y'all ass kicked. Pat Mahomes took a shot to the face. He got stripped first. Like when the ball is no longer in his possession, hey, all fair in love and war.
This game reminded me a lot of when Tampa Bay beat Kansas City in the Super Bowl. The only difference is Philly didn't blitz.
And the Chiefs don't have the excuse of backup linemen. Like they had backups.
All their offensive linemen were healthy. But TJ, what did I tell you off the air? The biggest weakness for Kansas City was their offensive tackles, and
It's been there.
Yeah, but it could not have been more exploited than what it was last night.
Well, no, it also makes you wonder.
Yeah, Josh Sweat had a. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it also makes you wonder, like, because like everybody was talking about the officiating. It's like, yeah, there was about 7 or 8 close calls that the Chiefs had this season. Like, what if the call went the other way? Are the Chiefs even in this position? Probably not. Hey, but Josh Sweat, yeah, that boy had a game.
2.5 sacks in this game. Also, Milton Williams, who I'm going to be honest with you, I had never heard of before he started just going off in this game for 2 more sacks. Also had that crazy strip sack stumble. Also, shout out to Zach Bond. I mean, it's got to be super rewarding. You get cast off by the New Orleans Saints, the team that drafted you. They don't pick up your 5th-year option. You go to Philadelphia, and not only do you have an All-Pro season, you get a pick in the Super Bowl, and that was a drive that the Kansas City Chiefs kind of had to have points, and they threw a pick instead to Zach Bond. Man, for him, that dude is about to get paid. I don't know if Philadelphia's going to be able to afford to keep him. But kudos to him, man. Way to bet on yourself. Go to a good scenario. Play hard. Play good football. But that dude's about to get mega paid. Let's go.
But at the same time, you like that's the cost of winning. Like we see it all the time. But at the same time, if you like winning that much, it's the old Patriot way. Like players used to take less money to stay where they like. We saw Tom Brady do it for like the whole time he was in Tampa. Like he took less money so the team could put better personnel around him so he wouldn't have to do I'm assuming that the Eagles do the same thing. Like, bro, like Jalen Hurts cap hit next year ain't shit but 21 mil. We could easily be looking at the Eagles.
I mean, his contract is all kind of backloaded. Like the next 2 seasons on that extension are fairly affordable.
Fairly affordable.
Yeah, and it's not until like the 3rd and the 4th season on that deal where it gets starting to get real expensive. Shout out to Philadelphia Eagles. They were the better football team on Sunday, and they deserve to win this game. Just out of curiosity, so I went to the sauna after I got back from Columbus, and one of my friends that I see in the sauna a lot is a big time diehard Buffalo Bills fan. She asked me if I thought the Buffalo Bills would have had a better shot of beating the Philadelphia Eagles.
No.
I just want to pose that same question to you guys. If it had been Buffalo, let's say things had changed, would Buffalo have had a better shot?
No, I legit think that no matter who Philly went up against, they're winning. I understand that. I know Cam Newton was on. This was maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago when he was on First Take, and he said that he was like, no matter who, like he was like whoever wins the AFC is gonna win the championship. So he was like, if it's if it's Philly and Kansas City's gonna be the favorite, and they were. If it's Buffalo, Kansas City, Buffalo's probably gonna be the favorite. We don't know because Buffalo didn't get there. And if it was Baltimore, Philly, Baltimore was gonna be the favorite, but we won't know because Baltimore didn't get there. I think when you're a team like Philly and you hear shit like that, you take that personally. Like that's it's like, oh,
I guess
okay.
I mean it more like a personnel conversation. Like
No, no.
Buffalo was like a better running football team. Like, do you think the result would have been any different? Do you think it would have been a beatdown like this?
Do I think it would have been a beatdown? No, but I still
Christian,
think Philly wins.
Christian, what do you think? If
I
swap out Kansas City for Buffalo,
don't think it would have been a beatdown. I think Buffalo would have established James Cook, and I think Josh Allen would have put a lot of pressure on the Phillies defense because he can get rid of the ball quickly, right? Those screen passes, Khalil Shakir, getting the ball to Dalton Kincaid, maybe a couple of one-on-ones with Amari Cooper, who I know was in and out the lineup because he was injured. Um, Honestly, I think from a defensive standpoint, the matchup that I would have looked forward to watching was Terrell Bernard against this Eagles rushing attack because Terrell Bernard is the glue of this entire Buffalo defense. When he's not on the field, they're a completely different unit. But when he's on the field, he can pick up tight ends. Philly has a good tight end, and Dallas got it. He can stop the run. Philly has the best running back, an overall player in the NFL in Saquon Barkley. He can rush the passer. He can pick up slot receivers. So I don't know if it would have been a blowout, but I think Philly probably still would have beat them.
so let's talk about Jalen Hurts. So he wins the Super Bowl MVP. You kind of get that revenge. You lose the Super Bowl 2 years ago. There's not that many players in the history of the league that like lost the Super Bowl early in their career, and then not even 2 years later goes back to the Super Bowl and gets that Lombardi Trophy. What does this do for Jalen Hurts? His legacy, to win the Super Bowl MVP. What does it do for just him as a human being? Like,
Um, well, I always thought he was elite. I know last year he really didn't have the year that he did in 2020, in 2023, because there was more tape on him. Now you bring in Saquon Barkley and running the football and having that running back in the backfield with you, it still pays dividends, David. And I think he let the game come to him a little bit more. He simplified the football game a lot more than what you saw in the previous 2 years. The interceptions were cut in half. It's funny you bring that up because I was having a debate with somebody earlier, and he said, I think it may be time to address this. And he was like, I think Jalen might be better than Lamar. And then I said, listen, Lamar has two things that Jalen doesn't have, which is MVP, but Jalen has a few things that Lamar has yet to accomplish. Jalen's been to two Super Bowls. He's won one. He's won two and a conference championships. Lamar's yet to get past the conference championship. So that's an interesting debate.
It's like it helps his resume for sure, but unfortunately, I don't think because of because of some of his counterparts, I still don't think you're not picking Jalen Hurts ahead of Pat Mahomes. You're not picking Jalen Hurts ahead of Lamar Jackson. You're not picking Jalen Hurts ahead of Joe Burrow or Josh Allen. Like you're just not. And and that's just what it is, right? Like you're not like if you was to line all those dudes up and say, hey, pick like and rank these guys from first to last and who you would start the franchise, who you want to be the franchise quarterback. Jalen Hurts is still probably going to be picked last. It is what it is, and it sucks, but it is what it is.
real quick, just welcome Izzy into the show. What's up, man? How was wrestling practice?
Intense, intense. It's always intense.
Um,
I stepped away for a little bit, but I kind of get your gist. I actually agree with everybody here. Well, Christian and or TJ exactly what he said because you got your top five quarterbacks, right? You got Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. Or at least those top four guys. And so you're not taking Jalen Hurts over any of those guys uh, right now, or even ever, probably. But at the same time, Jalen Hurts definitely has to, get his flowers
I mean,
in terms of
he's 40-20 as a starting quarterback in the NFL. So if you have Jalen Hurts as your starting quarterback, you're going to win
you're
two out of
winning.
every three
Hey,
games.
Yeah, you're winning. Yeah, and one thing about him is that he's a big game quarterback. He's nothing. He's been nothing but a winner ever since college, right? I mean, he takes his team to the national championship twice, right? Basically, essentially, I talked to TJ about this yesterday because remember, Tua got hurt that second year when he was a full-time starter, and Jalen Hurts was the one, right, Christian? He was the one that won them that game in the SEC championship game when he had to take
yeah,
the back seat and
yeah,
be a backup, right?
yeah.
That takes a lot of guts. I mean, not guts, but it takes a lot of
I
humility
mean, a
to
lot of
sit back
moxie
as
to
a
be able. Yeah.
well, humility, right? Because he could have transferred after that national championship, but he says, "No, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay here at Bama. I'm gonna finish out my undergrad." And then he transferred to Oklahoma. And what did he do? He took him to the CFP. So he's not been everywhere he's gone. He's been a winner. I mean, he took the Eagles in his third year to the Super Bowl. He played well in two Super Bowl appearances, winning his second one. And I mean, he's gonna go down as an ultimate winner. But in terms of quarterback play, there still are some inconsistencies that he has in the regular season.
But I want to
So
say this: is he just dating back to his days with the Alabama Crimson Tide? He's a much more mature quarterback than what he was. His first few years playing in college, he wasn't really slinging the rock down the field and
right.
spreading the ball around to the open receiver as consistently as he is now. Like that pass he threw to Devontae Smith last night, which I thought was the dagger. That's the best pass I think I've ever seen Jalen Hurts make. But
Well,
you know, to,
well, back in the day,
Well, it
he
made
wouldn't
it
have made
36
that
to
throw.
nothing. So
right, but
Well, that was a
to
shot. That was a
answer,
shot play. That's what you call a shot play, right?
yeah, but
You
to
get that
elaborate,
turnover.
right, but to
Yeah.
elaborate more on David's question about him, David, he's done it the right way. He's a leader. Like you have 12 and 13-year veterans following this kid's lead. You know what I'm saying? And most importantly, he's done it consistently and he's done it with class. And
well,
that's the only thing you can ask from your franchise quarterback.
let's shift focus away from the quarterback and let's talk about Nick Sirianni. So you lose that Super Bowl. You kind of was on the hot seat. Many people thought he was going to get fired this offseason. The Philadelphia Eagles stay with him. He kind of gets into it with the fans. But he leads this team to the Super Bowl and they ends up winning the Vince Lombardi Trophy. When you talk about like the upper echelon of head coaches in the NFL, where does Nick Sirianni land? Like, would you rather have him or Sean McVay? Just
He's won
real quick.
48. He's won 48 games since he's been a head coach, if I'm not
Nick
mistaken. Right?
Sirianni or McVay?
I'm going Nick Sirianni.
I'm going McVay. I think with those two, there's no wrong answer.
No, there's
Yeah.
no wrong answer on
In
that
my
though. But
opinion. So,
I'm going
like,
Sirianni though.
and with those two, like Nick Sirianni, Sean McVay, there's no wrong answer.
Nah, there's really not.
All right, Sirianni or Matt LaFleur?
Sirianni.
Sirianni.
Sirianni
Sirianni.
until Matt LaFleur wins a
But the one thing I want to give Matt LaFleur credit on is after losing Jordan Love the first couple of games during the regular season, he showed you how good of a coach he is because he worked with what he had around him.
oh
He
yeah, X's and O's.
yeah,
Matt LaFleur is a hell
coached.
of a
I
coach.
mean,
Yeah, I
same kind
mean,
of
He's a hell of a
conversation
coach.
like Kevin O'Connell, Mike Tomlin. Like, would you rather
hmm
have Nick Sirianni or either of those two guys?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm having Nick Sirianni's in the top five
I'm
head
probably
coaches of NFL right now. I
So
mean,
I
who you
mean,
taking? I mean, you're only taking maybe
Andy
McVay,
Reid,
Andy
Sean McVay,
Reid.
Mike Tomlin, and is that Is that the list?
No, I'm not taking Mike Tomlin over Nick Sirianni.
I think it's
Not
unfortunate.
these days.
I think it's because Mike Tomlin hasn't been able to like if Mike Tomlin had the rosters that Sirianni
Harbaugh.
had,
Taking Harbaugh over Sirianni.
I
which one?
don't know about
Which
that.
wait, wait, wait.
Which
I'm
which
taking
one?
Harbaugh over
Which
Sirianni.
one? Which
Baltimore
Harbaugh?
John
Harbaugh?
Harbaugh. John
Yeah,
Harbaugh.
yeah. I'll probably do that.
Baltimore
Too.
Ravens'
I'll
older
probably do
brother.
that too. I'll probably do
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah, so I think he's for sure moved himself into the top five. On the other side, does this losing the Super Bowl in this kind of fashion do anything for the legacy of anyone involved in Kansas City? Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce.
No.
Yes and
No
no.
impact.
I've been hearing that. I've been hearing that a lot about legacy with Pat Mahomes, and you got to think like because everybody's Tom Brady was in the booth and he's kind of being looked at that upper echelon. We're chasing the ghost, right?
Wearing a $740,000 watch.
Yeah, right. So the thing
That's
is that we got to remember what Pat Mahomes did his first 6, 7 years in the league, as opposed to this defeat and actually in the Tampa defeat. Right, a lot of that stuff was out of his control. I mean, he's running like a chicken with his head cut off. I think in the Tampa Bay game, he ran. I think he ran the most. I think he ran like 200 yards or something like that, 300 yards just to get away from pressure. And this game's kind of almost the same in a way. He was forced to throw picks. So I think you got to look at his first 7 years where he was just absolutely amazing. 2-time MVP, 3-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time Super Bowl MVP. That does, he's gonna go to more Super Bowls when it's all said and done. They'll make the necessary changes on the offensive line to get better to compete with a team like Philly and teams like the Rams that have great pass rushing defensive linemen. But it does nothing because Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes still have something that a lot of guys don't have, and that's multiple Super Bowl championships.
Yeah,
So
and to further elaborate on what Izzy said, look, Patrick Mahomes could walk away from the game tomorrow, and
first battle Hall of Famer, put a gold
lock.
jacket on him.
What'd you say?
Put a gold jacket on him.
Yeah, he's a lead pipe lock for the Hall of Fame for everything that Izzy just said. The 2 MVPs, the 3 Super Bowl MVPs. I mean, every year that he's been in the league, he's either played in a Super Bowl or a conference championship game. Let that sink in. First year he comes into the league, he throws 50 touchdown passes. Second year, he wins the Super Bowl. After he wins his first Super Bowl, he becomes the highest paid athlete in the history of sports, right? I remember when the Kansas City Chiefs used to be the laughing stock of the National Football League, and he single-handedly changed the whole trajectory of this entire franchise, you guys.
Started with Alex Smith, sat behind
Um,
him, and then
the
kind of
only
took it from
thing
there.
the only thing I can see people saying is like, hey, in the 2 Super Bowl losses that you do have, they weren't close. You got your ass kicked twice, and so people want to put him over Brady. Like I don't think like in Brady's Super Bowl losses, he ain't get his ass kicked. Brady might have lost, but
But,
he ain't
but,
get his ass kicked.
but
Like
TJ, can we make an argument and say this? Sorry to cut you off, but can we make an argument his first 7 years where they looked a lot better than what Brady looked in his first 7 years? You know what I'm saying?
but
Like
but at the same time, it's a different game. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying? Like
The passing game has changed. I
it's
mean,
a completely
I'm
different
just talking about the way he moves, though. The way he
it's
moves, the way
a
he throws the
different
football.
game.
You know what I mean? He's more athletic. It looks different.
and here is a fun fact. The last 2 teams to lose the Super Bowl both scored exactly 22 points. San Francisco scored 22 points last year. Kansas City Chiefs scored 22 points this year as they fall in the Super Bowl to the Philadelphia Eagles, 40-22. We got a couple things before we get up out of here. Let's first do final game balls of the 24-25 season, gentlemen. And Christian, you got the floor. Go for it.
Look, I'm going with Josh Sweat. To be honest with you, I want to screw it. I'm giving my game ball to the entire Philadelphia Eagles defensive line because they were absolute grown men, and the former defensive end in me is smiling like my heart is warm seeing that. Just how they were able to get home, and they just said, look, we're more man than you. And Izzy, I say it to you all the time, when everything is executed perfectly in the trenches,
Ain't nothing you
It's
can
a
do
big
about it.
poetry.
It was
Poetry in motion.
I said it last time when we did a preview. I said that was a bad matchup. It was a bad matchup, in the preview for me, and it's a bad It was a bad matchup when you're watching the game. I think my game ball got to go to the Rook, Cooper DeJean.
Cooper DeJean.
He set the tone with that pick six. They were setting the tone on the defensive line, but once he got that pick six, it really was like we're here,
That
we're here and we're
that
gonna
young
dominate.
man, that young man will never have a sweeter birthday in the history of his life.
Throwing,
Absolutely.
Getting a pick six on your birthday in the Super Bowl, and
And
you
he's a
win by
rookie.
30 points. Like
Oh, he's
there
gonna be
will
a
not be
stud,
a better
man.
birthday in his
throwing, a,
entire life. Like
throwing a pick six to the white boy in Black History Month. Way to set us back, Pat.
TJ
Nah,
gonna be
I'm
rolling with
playing.
that
I'm
one.
playing. I'm
I'm
playing.
going
I'm
Zach
joking.
Bond. I'm giving
I'm
Zach
joking.
Bond my game ball. I already talked about him a little bit earlier. It was a complete cast off from New Orleans, and then you get an interception in the Super Bowl in the building for the team he used to play for. There's nothing sweeter than that for Zach Bond. He's about to get super paid, an All-Pro season, bet on himself, goes to the Super Bowl, has an impact. Was probably their most important defensive player this season. Kudos.
Vic Fangio.
Mm-hmm.
He had to hear basically his whole coaching tenure, like while he was in Denver and all this other stuff, that Steve Spagnuolo is this defensive genius, and um, Fangio's defenses are 0-8 against the Chiefs, and I'm like, yeah, because the defenses that he had in Denver and Miami were just so stellar, because they just they just had it like that when they were in Denver. Like, shut up. He gets cast off in Miami because he's coaching us too hard. I've known Vic Fangio to be in two places that didn't complain about his coaching: Chicago and now Philly. Players gonna get what you put into them. And if you're the Dolphins, you had this man as your DC, and now you probably got to be kicking yourselves like, damn, like maybe y'all just need to stop being some little bitches and come with it. Vic
And
Fangio.
also, final game ball to Jalen Hurts, getting that monkey off his back, winning that Super Bowl MVP. Let's talk about some stuff, non-football stuff. Man, I spelled super wrong. I'll just fix that real quick. Let's talk about the halftime show. What you guys think?
It was all right. It was all
No
right.
problem with, like
People are
my
putting
thing is like
their opinion into it, but it was all right.
yeah, my thing is like no matter what happens, no matter who performs, you motherfuckers gonna complain about it anyway.
Hell yeah.
Like,
There's no pleasing anyone ever. Like when it
Like,
comes to
here's
the
the
Super Bowl
part-
halftime show.
here's the part I find hilarious. It's a bunch of conservatives on X saying some stuff, and it's like, oh, now y'all want DEI, now y'all want diversity and inclusion, now, right? Now y'all want it. Like, no, you no, you get what you asked for. You get what you asked.
As somebody who's not, a huge Kendrick Lamar fan, I thought the presentation was super good. Like I enjoyed like the his set, like what he did with the dancers. I thought it looked super impressive.
Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam. That is just genius.
Yeah, I mean, I thought visually, I thought it was a really cool presentation, a halftime show. I didn't know any of the songs because it's not my genre of music.
It's not your genre.
But I still enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty solid.
But real quick, people, y'all see that? You see what David just did? It's not my genre of music. It's not my, but I didn't mind it. So like y'all, it's people on X, David. Like, what is this? Is this mumble rap? Like, I'm like, do y'all really just not know who Kendrick Lamar? Kendrick Lamar is he won one of his rap albums won a Pulitzer. What rap artist?
The other thing is like, I don't know about everybody else on this panel. I got like real problems in my life. Like the fact that the Super Bowl halftime show wasn't exactly my cup of tea is not one of them. Like, I just don't care. Like
you got people on social media talking about we need a country show. It's like, what?
Although I wouldn't hate it if next season they did Disturbed as the halftime show. I wouldn't hate that. That's not happening. Disturbed's not gonna be part of the halftime show, but I wouldn't hate it.
It's just like, man, hey, it is what it is. Just keep pissing people off because, like you said, like there's just no satisfying people. Y'all just gonna find something. Like, and Christian shared a post on his Instagram. Like y'all gonna complain about whoever the fuck do it anyway. Like I remember, like what was it? Super Bowl 50 when Coldplay was the headliner, and people complained about that.
Yeah, people were
And it's
complaining
just
that he
like
took his shirt off. Like, okay.
it's just like what it's like what are we doing? Like what are we doing?
Moving on from the halftime show, the other part, the big part of the Super Bowl presentation is usually the commercials. Any of the commercials really stand out to you guys, and like any of them that really kind of were like, yeah, that was super cool. What did you guys think of the commercials as a whole?
It ain't been a good Super Bowl commercial since that little boy told that dude, "Don't you touch my mama, and don't you touch my Doritos."
What he said.
Man, that's fine, but that Stella Artois commercial with David Beckham and Matt Damon was killer.
I did like the Chris Pratt and Chris Hemsworth, like the like that one was kind of decent to me.
I also,
What'd you say, Christian?
I mean, the commercials were just all right. Nothing really.
Right. No, right, nothing really stood out.
I also really like the Mountain Dew commercial with Seal as a seal. Like the commercial was just so over the top, crazy.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, that was a good one.
It was great. It was so over the top. And then the Dunkin' Donuts commercial, the one that had like Belichick in it, like it was just great. It's just great.
It's like Belichick. It's like Belichick is like letting loose. It's like hey, I can
Well,
be big.
he shows up to the award ceremony wearing all 8 of the Super Bowl rings.
It's like, oh, this is like, hey, you know what, G? You know what? Can't hate on that.
I like it. Yeah, overall, I thought the commercials were just okay this year. They're obviously, as is with every Super Bowl year, like there are some real gems, but you know.
And as far as like presentation goes, like I'm just glad that this went off without a hitch. All things considering for New Orleans, like the last time, like it was a big crowd down there like this. We know what tragically happened.
Well, I was talking more about the graphics package. I've seen a lot of chatter online about the like the scoreboard bug and like the graphics package that Fox.
Who cares?
Well, as somebody who works in television, and I actually loved that graphics package. I thought it looked so like just crisp and simple and just sharp.
It had
kind of like the over like yeah, I kind of liked how it was like overlaid over the. It just looked awesome. Like I just liked that simple kind of simplistic graphics package as opposed to some of the overtop stuff we see all the time. Like I prefer the simpler approach when it comes to graphics. When it comes to my Super Bowl presentation,
like it put me in the mind of like when the NBA was on NBC, like they didn't show the scoreboard unless unless there was a score. Like somebody made a basket, they flashed the score on the screen long enough for everybody to see it, and then like right when the action was given, like so like they take like somebody score. They show who scores and they running back down the court. Then all of a sudden, other team bringing the ball up. That's when the score went off the TV. Was taken off the TV. Like it put me in the mind of that. I had no problem with the presentation.
I thought it was pretty damn good. What did you guys think of Tom Brady in his first Super Bowl as the color commentator?
I thought he was excellent. I think a lot of people were saying that he wasn't all that great of an analyst and whatnot
for the whole season.
Right, but I think people fail to realize this isn't an easy job, man. Whenever I saw people say that, I would just say to myself, look, David, we're in this field, right? And the people who haven't done it, I don't think they realize how difficult this is. I mean, each and every week, he's coming into people's living rooms, millions of living rooms. And he got better as the year went on. Not only did I think he did a good job during the game, providing the analysis, just kind of hearing some of the stories that he mentioned, like, oh, well, we would do this and, we would go here, but we still made sure
the perspective that Tom Brady adds, especially in a Super Bowl, is unmatched. Like there's nobody else you can get that has the kind of perspective on the Super Bowl that Tom Brady has. There's
Yeah,
no one else.
I mean, look, it helps. It helps the cause when you played in 10 of them.
Yeah.
So if anybody knows
I mean, I'll put it this way, man. Like, hey, Jonathan Vilma has been at Fox for how long? Calling games for how long? And Brady has come in and passed you up, bro. Because truth be told, Jonathan Vilma's trash on the mic. He's just garbage. But Tom Brady, because like I said, like the perspective that he brings, playing in 10 Super Bowls, as Christian said, is it's almost like, hey, it's like why not have him? Like why not? Like the only person I would not have mind if they were to call the game would have been Greg Olsen.
I do really like Greg Olsen, but
Greg is really good. I hope to the heavens this year NBC does us a solid. It gets rid of Chris Collinsworth because I'm tired of now.
That is never happening. Like that's never gonna happen. But yeah, that's been our Super Bowl 59 recap. Thank you very much for joining us here at Prime Sports World, and thank you very much for riding with us for the entire season. We're going to switch our focus now over to the offseason. We're going to talk a little bit about the coaching carousel as we expect Kellen Moore to be hired by the New Orleans Saints.
Carousel should be done.
So thinking we could probably run that show tomorrow. Then we'll kind of look into the offseason previews for all the teams in the NFL. Christian, take a much-deserved break. Maybe you come and pop in for a mock draft show at some point in the offseason.
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who has either listened to me on Monday, even quarterback, this show every Monday and Tuesday, the betting window, college football showdown with Izzy on this very same network. You know, you read a preview. You were looking forward to hearing me and Davis say shameless plugs and everything like that. But most importantly, I want to thank these guys. These guys really took a chance on me in 2020. And to be real with you, I can't see life without them. So David, TJ, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all more than words imaginable. Thank you for everything you did for me this season. And of course, I'm coming back. I'm stuck with you.
Let's go. We appreciate having you. Thank you very much for joining us here at Prime Sports World. I'm David Huffman, TJ Hopkins, and from the Daily Blitz.blog, Mr. Christian Simpson. Gentlemen, what we do here at the Prime, my friends?
We bring the heat, baby.
Yeah, and yeet, baby. Let's go, TJ. Here's a quick message from our sponsor over there at the Huddle Sports Network. You can find that on your Roku devices. We'll be back here tomorrow giving you the Coaching Carousel show. So keep an eye out for all that content. See you guys all later. Take care. Peace out, and have a good Monday night.
Welcome to the Huddle Sports Network, where we're breaking boundaries and redefining podcasting. Broadcasting live on 6 different platforms, we're bringing you the latest in sports like never before. Imagine tuning into real-time discussions, expert analyses, and fan interactions all at your fingertips. Each platform offers a unique experience, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. We're not just sharing stories, we're creating a community of passionate sports enthusiasts. Join us as we dive deep into the evolution of podcasting, where every episode is a chance to engage, debate, and celebrate the world of sports. This is where your voice matters and the game never stops. Welcome to the Huddle Sports Network, where we're breaking boundaries and redefining podcasting. Broadcasting live on 6 different platforms, we're bringing you the latest in sports like never before, where sports passion meets podcasting brilliance. I'm Mike, the Bear fan, and alongside Bill, the Packer fan, and our buddy Ken Catalone, we're bringing you an incredible lineup of 38 diverse podcasters. Each one brings their unique flavor to the table, covering everything from game analysis to behind-the-scenes stories. Imagine diving deep into the minds of experts who live and breathe football, sharing insights that you won't find anywhere else.